It's coming up on 7:16 already. Did you make the time change okay?
Pretty good. I did pretty good. I got to reset the truck, my clock in my truck. Other than that, I'm doing pretty good.
It don't bother me. I change the clock at supper time, whether it's going forwards or backwards. So if it's I'm sitting down having supper at 5 or 5:30, okay, so it's 6:30. Okay, it's 4. What difference does it make?
Right.
You know?
Yesterday, after the time change yesterday, that was a very quick day. It got away from me in a hurry.
Did it?
I looked up and all of a sudden it's 4:30, and I'm going, what in the world? Yeah, it was. I like this. I like having daylight when I get off work.
I did some research on it, put it on Facebook. That goes back way back into thousands of years.
Really?
Yeah, it's not just a Ben Franklin thing in the last 200 years. It goes back into Greece and the old countries for centuries.
Yeah. I like the idea of having that extra daylight when I get off work. So good.
Makes sense, yeah.
We got daylight savings time. We got baseball players playing baseball. We got spring right around the corner, right, Dale?
It couldn't be any better. I'm ready to take people literally when they say go jump in the lake.
Yeah.
Or the river.
Uh-huh.
So, busy last week?
Yeah, even with that snow we had in the middle of the week, we had a pretty good week of it. Good. It put a damper on things for a bit, but all in all, we had a very good week at the shop, and this week the weather looks to be almost picture perfect for the most part. So
I'll take it.
We're probably going to get caught up on a lot of stuff we've not got done.
Good. We got a couple of questions here. My 2005 Toyota Camry has 100,000 miles. What is the suggested maintenance? Good question.
Yeah. You look into some of these cars, almost all of them, the manufacturers at around 100,000, give or take a few. They have a pretty major maintenance schedule in there of things that they would like for you to do to their vehicles.
Is that an interference engine with a timing belt?
Yes.
Step one.
Yep. With that Camry, I would drag my owner's manual out. If you don't have one, I bet we can find it on the internet. Most manufacturers, when you come up on 100,000, you're gonna check brakes and suspension parts. The idea about the timing belt is probably going to be high on the list of things to do. And when Dale says that that's an interference engine, if that timing belt were to break, it means that valves and pistons could slam into each other, and it means probably a new head at the very minimum, maybe a new engine. Mm-hmm. So timing belts, if you're driving a car with a timing belt, you need to know what the recommended replacement intervals are.
Yeah.
And if I had one of them, I'd probably shy. For me, I'd probably err on the side of going a little bit short. If they said you need to have that timing belt replaced at 100, I'd probably have it done at 90.
At least, yeah.
Because that's a pretty good insurance policy. You'll also be looking possibly at having antifreeze changed out. A lot of cars now are running the extended life stuff, 5 years, 100,000 miles and stuff. Transmission fluid would be another thing you'll be looking at. Probably the drive belts, runs the alternator, power steering, spark plugs,
Yeah.
Spark plug wires if they're still equipped with that. Some cars don't have wires now. Maybe a fuel injector cleaning, things like that. Is many manufacturers have got that major service interval at 100,000 for a lot of those fluids. If you fall under the there's a severe maintenance and a regular maintenance, and if your driving puts you in the regular maintenance, at 100,000, there's a lot of things that they're going to want to get done. And
belt tensioner, perhaps.
Could be. I'm kind of winging this. I'm not 100% familiar with what a Camry would have. I'm going off of what most vehicles recommend, and we would need to check shocks and struts. You probably want to check tie rod ends, ball joints.
Oh, yeah.
Rip the wheels off of there, and let's check brakes. Probably have an alignment check done if you've not had one in a while. Need to take a look at the tires and see how they're wearing. And I'm sure people are saying, man, he just named off $1,000 worth of stuff that I need to have done.
I was thinking of the monetary effect. It's like on my vehicle, I was putting pen to pad and figuring the mathematics on mine. And for me, I think I'm money ahead to spend a little extra on the maintenance at 150,000 miles.
Right.
Because the last vehicle I had just like this went almost 300,000.
Right. Exactly. And, when I'm sitting here running off this list of things that should be done at 100,000, you don't have to do them all on one day. Do it half and half, do it a third, a third, and a third, you can pick and choose how you do that. And if it's not done at exactly the 100,000 mile mark, that's probably not the end of the world.
Yeah.
We do that a lot for people up at Minute Mechanic, is they'll come in and they'll go, hey, I need all these things done, but can we make it easy on the budget? So we'll break it up into pieces and do it that way.
Yeah.
And you can for sure do that on that Camry. We can break it up, make it easier.
Most of that other stuff, other than the timing belt, wouldn't be as severe as the belt. The 100,000 on that style of engine, especially if it's interference, get the belt and tensioners if it's equipped with the timing belt tensioner. You know,
Right.
Anything related with timing belt on that, get it changed.
Yeah, that timing belt is one of those deals that if you don't do it and it gets away from you, the penalty you pay is pretty high. You know, if you let the spark plugs run an extra 10,000 miles, that will be fine. If the transmission fluid runs a few extra miles, that's not usually the end of the world. But if a timing belt breaks, that is a big problem, a very big problem.
Over now, let me tell you.
Yeah, it's all over but the tow truck.
But at 100,000 miles on the Camry, this is an 05 Camry. What about the type of motor oil? Would you go to a little bit heavier oil? If you're using a 5W, say you're using 5W20 to a 5W30, would you go to a 1030?
Probably not. If your engine is doing fine, if you've got good oil pressure and all that, you know, I would probably leave the oil that I had been running for the first 100,000 in there. And I say that because we've got vehicles coming in, man, 300,000 plus miles on them.
With the same oil.
With the same oil that they started with. Mm-hmm. And I think we got about a 01 or 2 Chevy Silverado that works with one of the local heating and cooling companies run, and it's got 400,000 on it, and it's still running Pennzoil.
What kind of
Pennzoil 530?
What brand of it?
It's a Chevy Silverado.
Really?
Yep.
400,000.
Yep. Last time it was in, it had 396,000, so I know it's at 400 now.
I think I'd take a picture of that odometer.
Yeah.
That's a milestone.
Yes. and there's a lot of vehicles that we have coming in the 200,000 range. And they're still running the same weight of oil that was recommended the day it was built, and they're doing just fine.
Yeah.
And keep the oil changed in it. Use a good name brand. People heard me say it 100 times, and you won't ever know the difference in it. And I would not be too worried about going to anything heavier in one of these cars. I would. Unless you started to have an oil pressure issue or something, I don't know yet. And if you do have an oil pressure issue, you've got a bigger problem anyway.
Yeah, I should say, let's take the 05 Camry, or even perhaps the Silverado?
Chevy Silverado.
With nearly 400,000. If you haven't had an engine malfunction yet using that oil,
leave things alone.
If it works, don't fix it.
Yeah, if you've got an oil pressure issue where your oil gauge is acting up, or you got an oil light flickering on, if it's not a problem with your oil sending unit or whatever, you got more issues than changing oil weight. Mm-hmm. I can remember back when I was a kid, driving some of these old cars, and my first car was a 74 Ford LTD, and every time I'd pull up at a stoplight, especially in the summer,
the oil light come on.
My oil light would come on. And
main bearings.
Yeah, and my dad, we need to do this, and we ran to the store, next time we changed oil on it, and we put some, Lord, I don't know, 20W50 some kind of a straight weight oil in it, and sure enough, it didn't come on. But
when I first got that 392 Hemi, I was running straight Valvoline Racing 50.
Yep.
Straight 50.
Yep. But that was
heaven help that oil pump.
Yeah, that's a long time ago, and I wouldn't for that addressing that question. Whatever oil that you have been using to get the first 100,000 on it, I would run it for the next 100.
Yeah,
I sure would, because I don't think you'll have a bit of problems.
I agree. Well, we got a few more minutes here. Let's talk about your motor oils. You talked about name brand oils. You got every major brand of motor oil in stock.
We got a bunch of them. I mean, every once in a while somebody comes up with a brand of oil and they'll surprise us that we don't have, but it's not that often. And if you'll give me a day or two, I can usually have that.
Mm-hmm. And what's this AMS oil?
Yes. AMS oil is great stuff. We use a lot of it up there at the shop. It's probably
is that better than Mobil 1?
Probably is.
Really?
Wow. And if you get on the internet and you look at most of these tests, and I look at motorcycle oil a lot of times, AMSOIL is the top rated oil.
Huh.
Now, in these tests that they have engineered, they can tell small differences in oil in their performance. Blah blah. You know what I'm saying? Now, in the real world, where me and you're out driving around, we probably won't know the difference. Yeah. But AMSOIL is was the originator of the synthetic oils, and it's as good as any and better than most. And we sell it as our very best brand of synthetic, and we've never had any issues. AMSOIL is a very good product. It's good stuff. Many times when somebody walks in the door and they ask me about a synthetic oil, I may steer them towards Mobil 1 because they are out on the roads a lot. And if you needed a quart of oil on a Sunday afternoon, Mobil 1's available in Walmart.
Sure.
Every auto parts store that hangs a sign up has got Mobil 1. AMSOIL can be harder to come by. Harder to come by, you know. AMSOIL is usually stocked at stocking dealers, and there's not many of them around. You know, we're one of the few around here, but it is a very high quality product. You can get into that stuff with like Royal Purple, and a lot of people from up in the north are used to use Schaefer's. I've got several of the guys that come in and talk about a synthetic oil from up there, Schaefer's. I'm not real familiar with it because I've not seen much of it. And, of course, AMSOIL comes out of, I believe, Wisconsin.
Well, it's like the old oil Kindle.
Yep.
Kindle oil out of Pennsylvania, I think.
Yep. But we do stock a bunch of synthetic oil. We have Castrol Syntec. We keep the Mobil 1. We keep AMSOIL. And I order
all major brands.
Yeah, and I order a fair amount of AMSOIL for people. People call me up. Oh, I want some AMSOIL. I got a case of 2-stroke oil sitting up there at the shop right now for a guy's son that races dirt bikes, and they want to use AMSOIL in that dirt bike.
There you go.
And we special order things for people all the time. So if there's something that you're looking for,
you can find it.
I can get it for you. It takes me a couple of days,
Give him a minute.
Give me just a little bit. We'll have it. But if a person's got any questions about AMSOIL, do some research. Punch it up on Google AMSOIL and read about that stuff. And it is a very good, very high quality oil.
Men Mechanics located Highway 201 North across from Salvation Army. 425-3135 is their number. Open 8 to 5 Monday through Friday. No holidays this month.
Thanks, Dale. Man, I can always count on Dale to suck the fun right out of things.
Give Mike a call. You got time this week? Get folks in.
Oh, absolutely.
There you go. Give Mike a call. 425-3135. Mike and the gang will get you in as fast as they possibly can. Time for the news. Be right back. 7:36, and I don't know if people remember, but when did I do that? Back in January, Jane Bub?
Yeah, it was.
Put a challenge out for a business to pick up for law enforcement appreciation bumper stickers. Jay called and says, I'll take that challenge. Jay Leech is here from Leech Automotive along with Bubba, and from Sheriff's Department. You'll have to introduce us.
Danielle Campfield. She's the Darren SRO.
Oh, good to have you.
Serves in Hackler and Pinkston.
Cool. So where are we at on the bumper stickers?
Well, as I was telling you before we went on the air, it was really neat how this kicked off, with y'all starting it here and then Jay taking the challenge. And, of course, being my brother-in-law, he calls me and says, hey, this is what we're doing, and come up with the idea to get the kids involved. And I turned around and called Danielle and said, hey, this is what we would like to do. And she just took it and ran with it at Hackler, got it set up with Principal Sandra Monger, and they had a little competition there at Hackler with the 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders to come up with a design for the bumper sticker. So I guess it was 2 weeks ago. I lose track because of the snow last week and everything else, but I guess it was 2 weeks ago. Danielle got it set up, and we actually had our supervisors come in along with Jay to judge them. And Danielle, how many entries would you say we had?
I would say we had around 200 probably.
Yeah, I mean, it was amazing at how many. And, man, it was really amazing what some of these kids came up with.
That's good.
So, anyway, we picked a winner for each grade. And
as a judge, it was really tough. Yeah, I mean, going through 200 entries, 200 plus entries, trying to narrow it down to 3, a first, second, third, and then pick the overall winner out of it. I mean, it was supposed to be. Bub said, "I need you to run over here to the school for about 15, 20 minutes, to pick out these winners." And it ended up being hour and a half. I mean,
Yeah.
because there were, like I said, there were so many good ones.
I just seen
We had to keep, and of course, each one of us 3 judges had our favorites, and so we had to agree. And drop a couple here, and like I said, it was a much bigger process than what I thought, but it was because of the quality of the entries that made us tough.
But anyway, here's the first place winners for each grade, and then they had to put them in first, second, and third. And I thought they've already been notified. Danielle's already taken care of that, but I thought it'd be neat for you to see what's going to be produced.
That is so cool. First was Sammy Siemens. Badolfson's a teacher, 5th grade. Respect those who respect us. Wow.
Protect.
Yeah.
Protect us, yeah.
Respect us. Respect those who protect us.
Protect us. Let me get my glasses on here. Billy.
That would help.
help.
That would help. Ah! Let there be light. Bailey Stockfish, Holmes, 4th grade. Thank you, law enforcement, for risking your lives to protect ours. Wow. In the basis says the stripes of the American flag instead of stars, they put a police badge. That's cool. Our heroes wear a badge. They don't wear capes. Kayla Kyrick, 3rd grade. Spivey's the teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice.
So, yeah, you can see, it's great entries that went in. And oddly enough, the first place winner, and let me just say, we didn't know who the winner was. We didn't look at any names or anything else, but it turns out that's a police officer's
Very good.
child that ended up winning first place.
There you
go. That was really neat to see that, too, to have that come out. So, anyway, I brought another one for you to look at.
Okay.
This one's my favorite.
This is what we call our honorable mention. We couldn't get it to win, but we really like that one.
Wow. Police car. What does they say? Does they snap?
There's no way people are going to
There's no way.
on the radio without being able to see it.
I'll hold it up to the microphone.
Yeah. You'll have to post them on the website or
policeman's holding
something.
the donut. Okay.
We're going to leave you a copy of that for you to
You're
leave here. You can post
stereotyped,
that here.
Nothing like being stereotyped.
We loved it. We loved it. So
Is this boy a 3rd grader?
I think so.
I think he was
don't
a 3rd
remember what
grader.
grade he was. 4th grader. He was a 4th
Fourth
grader. So, but anyway, that was neat.
How did policemen get dubbed with all the donut stuff? I mean,
I
that's
don't
hilarious. That's hilarious.
I don't know, because you know what? I don't eat donuts
I don't either.
in public. So, but anyway, I just thought it was really neat the way this all came about, and all the people that it took, and it really just all kind of fell in place. The school took it on. Danielle took it on. She and I don't even work for the same department, and Jay taking it on with just hearing it that morning and taking it and running with it. So
I mean, I put the challenge out in 3 or 4 minutes. The phone rang. Did you wait till the news break to call or something? I think
No, I called right then, right as you said the challenge.
When did we do that? Back in January, right after the first of the year?
Yeah, it was when you had. Oh, come on! Now I'm going to go blank.
Was it one of the representatives?
Yeah, but he's new judge now.
The new juvenile judge?
No,
it wasn't Judge Evans.
No.
Judy Fagan?
no. Oh, Lord.
Huh.
Now we're going to have somebody call in and remind us all who it was you were interviewing that morning.
Look at the archives. I don't remember.
Y'all were talking about this is when all Ferguson and all that stuff was going on.
Yeah.
And y'all were talking about the lack of respect for law enforcement and how it started, with everything from the music, the culture, and everything else, just being against law enforcement and not having any respect for not only law enforcement but any people of authority.
But what are we teaching the kids, everybody? I mean,
Well,
we see the officer here with the badge.
That was,
And you got your badge on?
I do,
You got a badge on? I mean, does the younger generation realize what the badge stands for?
Probably not to the extent that you did when you were younger. But some of that is too that we have softened the appearance of law enforcement over the last several years doing things like SROs and DARE officers, and they interacted with us more on a day-to-day basis. So some of that could be there, but
look at our TV shows, everybody. Just the promos. Okay, if I'm sitting at home eating supper and Channel 3 News is on and just what they advertise for NBC, crime this, crime that, there's all kinds of this stuff. And just the promos for the shows are violent.
yeah.
Now, you can't tell me that somewhere or other the psychological part of that is getting into the kid's mind. I mean,
I agree. When I first started, some of the kids were like, oh, I'm scared of cops, but they couldn't ever tell you why. So I asked them, I said, why are you scared of me? You don't even know me. You don't know who I am. You don't know anything about me. And, now that the school year's almost over, they're like, oh, I don't know why I didn't like you. I don't know why I was scared of cops. Just that image is out there that we're all bad.
And when you say that, Dale, let me ask you, when you were younger, did you respect police officers or were you scared of police officers?
Well,
there's a difference.
Maybe I was raised a little bit different. I was raised in Illinois. And one thing that we did do is we went to the Illinois State Fair, and the Illinois State Police always had a booth, and it was like for kids 4, 5, 6, 7 years old. They had these little pedal go-karts that taught you how the rules are, and the policeman would help you. They had a little track out there, and I always got the rules of the road. It was put out by Illinois State Police. So from the youngest standpoint I can remember, I saw that the police were here helping us learn at a young age. So I really wasn't afraid, but when they said something, I obeyed it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And
Yeah.
even I remember we were in Springfield, Illinois for the fair one time, and they had, like I say, we got out there in this little track, and the Illinois State Police were the one that put that on. I literally learned to drive from the Illinois book, because I loved reading that thing.
Well,
I don't know.
maybe Illinois, it was ahead of their time at that. They were community service oriented at that point in time to maybe do that. But, I grew up as my dad was in law enforcement.
Was he?
So
Yeah.
I learned to respect the job,
Sure.
From that standpoint. But usually most of the people or kids that I grew up with were, you say respect, but they were actually more scared of police than they were.
And I'm sure there was a
respecting them,
certain
so.
fear factor because, you've got, come on, when I was 7 years old and you see this guy that's 6'3" and like the officer here's just got, badges and radios.
So the uniform itself is intimidating.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think back then, even Illinois State Police, they had the big hat.
Yeah. Yeah, the big campaign hat. So I guess it's all in how you look at it,
Yeah.
But hopefully our
So,
jobs are changing.
Are y'all
some of that.
respected in the schools?
Oh, yes. Yes.
I agree.
Yeah.
So when the stickers, where are we at on the stickers?
We were waiting for the entries. Basically, starting today, we're going to go into production of the stickers. We haven't submitted them to the printer yet. We were waiting on them to, notify the winners and basically have their
Those are going to
celebration
be
at school. Yeah.
Are you printing the donut?
I might have to have one or two of those.
I was thinking, I think those are going to be a limited edition.
Limited edition.
There's going to be a limited run. They're going to put those on the cop cars themselves.
So
We can use it for bribery. You can pull over for speeding. Officer, I won't put this on Facebook if you don't give me a ticket.
yeah.
Let's go ahead and take the Hannity break right quick. We're talking about our upcoming bumper stickers, and I'm looking forward to seeing these out on the vehicles.
Yeah.
That's going to be cool. We'll be right back. 7:51. Why don't we talk about that real quick?
Oh, no. Oh, let's not open that door.
Oh,
Yeah.
come on.
No.
Pandora's box. Come on. Everybody went quiet.
Yeah. No.
I don't think
Guns
that's a
in school,
discussion
never.
for this
That's
morning.
That's never a good thing to
No,
talk
it's
about.
not.
So
You'll be getting calls the rest of the day.
Turn the phone off.
yeah.
Why have we, there again, it's our society,
Yeah.
Dale, I do want to say something.
Go ahead.
that Sam Siemens called in over the break and said who was on the radio when you issued the bumper sticker challenge. And that was
I was gonna say,
Judge Sean
do
Womack.
you remember?
Yeah, I was like, I almost forgot again. No. Judge Sean Womack. And that show you were talking about, the respect for law enforcement or the lack of respect for law enforcement. And I would say, for one thing, when I was growing up, we moved around a lot for my dad's job. This community has a lot more respect for law enforcement. Everything from the kids to the adults, it's taught a lot more. And a certain percentage of that is the region we live in. I mean, the Bible Belt, Midwest, region. I think we have somewhat of a sheltered, and we still have more traditional values where that's taught in the home.
Right.
And I do see that through traveling, that here we do have an inherent more respect for law enforcement and for all figures of authority because it's taught in the home. It starts at home, and it starts young. And that's one of the reasons when you issued that challenge about the bumper stickers, by the time I got off the phone with you and got to work, I was immediately thinking, how can we move this down the scale towards kids? How can we get kids involved with this? And that's when I called Bub and said, I want to get kids involved, and Bub came up with the idea, hey, let's let the kids do an art contest, and it grew from that. But
I'm glad it went this way. Those are impressive.
Yeah. And I mean, to get the kids involved in that level, and it will. I think once people see the bumper stickers out there, I'm at a loss for words, but I mean,
I know what you're trying to say. Yeah,
it has a much more warm feeling than just text on a bumper sticker saying "respect the police." To know that a kid came up with this, you think that's where it needs to start. That's the core. That's where it should be started, as respecting law enforcement and all figures of authority is with the kids.
That's cool.
And I think, too, building on what he said, I just thought about none of the three of us are originally from Mountain Home. Now, you spent most of your time here, but I'm originally from Louisiana. You're from Illinois. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I would agree that it's different here. We have a great community as far as respecting police, honoring our military, those types of things. And those important things have shown with our community leaders, like the chief of police, the sheriff, by putting officers in the school, by, making those commitments to do those things, even sometime when it wasn't popular to do, to get it done. So I think it shows we have a special community here in Mountain Home. So
it really does. Wow. Well, there's no doubt that all of us here at Mountain Talk respect, all aspects of law enforcement. We're behind y'all 100%. Now, you're the DARE officer?
Yes, sir. I teach DARE for 5th grade at Hackler and then 6th grade at Pinkston.
At Pinkston, okay. It's a great program.
Mm-hmm.
It's an amazing program.
Yeah. Wow. And then, of course, Bubba Jones, part of the SRO program. I tell you what, I firmly stand behind you guys.
We know you do.
You and Eddie and Tom need to come back in.
I was going to say, I know you do.
Get y'all back in.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
We can tell by the way you harass us how much you support us. So.
Well, don't we always talk a little football?
Yeah, we do. It's getting baseball season, so we're getting ready to do that. But I'm afraid.
You seen some of the Cubs pictures?
No, I haven't.
There was one had like 6 people on an old buggy, horse and buggy. It says the celebration parade to last Cubs World Series. So we're down about 15 seconds. Your final thoughts from anybody?
Just glad to be a part of this. Is all.
And thank you, Dale, for. I mean, you started it. It started with you.
Well, I appreciate you picking up the tab and running with this. So.
I'm glad it came to my school. The kids did a great job with it.
And if there's any printers out there who would like to get on board and donate their services,
call in.
Yeah. I'll issue that challenge.
There you go. That wraps it up. It's time for the Rush Morning Update, followed by Glenn Beck. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody.